What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Beyond the Scare. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And I'm super excited about today's episode. Thank you for joining your favorite scare experts as we dive into all things horror. I'm one of your hosts, Danny Royce, joined by my bro. What's good, Pauly?
What's going on, everybody out there? Let's go. We're so excited about this so let's jump into it.
Yes, we are super excited. Before we get going, though, thank you so much for tuning in. Wherever you're listening from, Spotify, YouTube, wherever, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us for all of our future episodes and check out some of our past episodes as well. Our scare episodes come out every week, and we are super excited to dive into this. Oh my God, we've been waiting. We've been waiting. But first and foremost, Paul, let's just have a nice round of applause. Let's take a second. 30 years, and it's been incredible. So we're gonna dive into Scream 7. Let's get into it, Pauly.
Yes. Just the smiles, just cheating.
Just giggling, geeking out. Oh my God.
But okay, so the highly anticipated Scream 7 was officially released on Thursday, unofficially released, I should say, on Thursday, February 26th in select theaters, and officially released on Friday, February 27th. Danny and I saw the film on Thursday, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Danny, show everybody what you got.
Coming in through with the Ghostface himself.
Yes.
Got the little popcorn in the back. Come on with it. Look at it.
I got my guy here, still a little popcorn.
Okay, get yourself a little taste. Get yourself some popcorn. Whatever your favorite drink is, we got a lot to dive into. Look at that.
That's where it's at right there. That's where it's at.
Super excited. Look at that.
So let's start off with Neve Campbell is back reprising her role as the infamous Final Girl. Sidney Prescott. Yes, a round of applause for her. A lot of controversy surrounding Scream 5 and Scream 6, Melissa Barrera, and which may or may not have solidified Neve Campbell's return in this capacity. Regardless, we are here for it. And as true Scream fans know, no matter how debatable you may think it is, Sidney Prescott is Scream. Am I right, Danny?
Yes. He is the face of the franchise. There is no Scream without Sidney Prescott.
Let's just keep it real. We're just keeping it real.
He is the ultimate Final Girl. Let's put it. Drop the mic. No.
So the film opens up in my opinion, one of the best opening sequences since Scream 1996, Casey Becker and Stephen Orr, and Scream 2's Maureen Evans and Phil Stevens. The iconic house of Stu Macher, 261 Turner Lane, as we all know, is back, makes his final appearance. There, Scott, played by Jimmy Tatro, and his girlfriend Madison, who's played by Michelle Randolph, arrive at the infamous house, which is now an Airbnb and / museum of some sorts.
Yeah.
Scott is extremely excited, more so than his girlfriend Madison, which I feel like we would be in this situation.
That was really,
literally everything Scott was doing, I was like, I'll be doing the same thing. Probably.
Pretty much. And I would just want to say, like, as he was doing that, showing her everything, I was geeking out. I was just smiling. I was like, oh yeah, that's where Billy got shot in the hand. Oh, that's what. It was so nostalgic. It
was. I mean, literally. So like, they enter the house full of nostalgia, right? That's like, the nostalgia, the playfulness, all that's occurring, and then the phone rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of the experience where they ask the guests the famous question, what is your scary movie, and then ask questions about scary movies, which is hysterical. So Danny, I don't know if this clicked for you, but the trick question that they asked Scott was actually what we discussed our previous episode with Friday the 13th. So there was a trick question in the movie where the person on the phone asked Scott what age Jason Voorhees was when he drowned. Mm-hmm. And Scott was doing all the math in his head and everything. He was like, it's 11. I know it's 11. And then the voice was like, no, that's wrong. Sorry. And
That's
then
wrong.
Madison was like, that's a trick question. Jason never drowned. And I was like,
Exactly.
get
You're
it.
right. I was like, come on now.
So
I
that
was
part
very
was,
proud of her for that moment.
yeah, me too. I was like, that was giddy. I was giddy. Anyway, probably the main thing in this house was like this motion censored, like Ghostface figure,
Oh my
right?
God.
Which, you know, they kind of played around with at first. It scared Madison. They unmasked it, saw it's literally this like robot type thing. But at some point, Ghostface trades places with that particular machine and attacks Scott. And basically what ensues is a, you know, a great chase scene between Madison and Ghostface. And ultimately ends up with the house being torched, right? Danny, what did you think of that chase scene? I know we love
The
chase.
chase scene was incredible. Chase scene
Yeah, yeah.
was it was very nostalgic. It took me back to the old school roots of Scream. And also, yeah, just for a moment with that mechanical, kind of android Ghostface, when you switch places, it was just again a testimony to Ghostface, how he moves. You know what I mean? He moves like a ninja, and it's like you never see it, you never hear it. It was great because I was like, oh, that's the Ghostface we know and
Thank
love.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
for pointing that out because I actually notated that as well. And then in this movie, what I thought Williamson did such a great job with it because he added that creepiness back into Ghostface. There were a
Yes.
lot of parts where you just saw Ghostface's like head, his figure, like behind the sheets, behind like, you know, the plastic, just like creeping up. And I was like, yes, that is how it started, and that's what we needed.
Right. Yes. What did you think about the Ghostface reveal, his first reveal?
I thought how it happened was just like very cool and everything like that. And I mean, we're gonna get into like the kills also, but I thought it was great because there was such a build up to it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You saw it coming, you just didn't know when it was gonna happen, and that's kind of makes it better.
Love when it appeared and when it disappeared, his face, like it was good. It was really creepy.
Yeah, for sure. The movie itself is based around Sydney and her family, right?
Yes.
So now Sydney Evans now
Sydney Evans
is enjoying her new life with her family in Pine Grove, Indiana. Obviously, having very notably sat out the events of Scream 6. You know, the fans have been following that story. They know about it, so we don't really need to get into it.
Right.
But now she owns a coffee shop in this little cute town. But yeah, she owns a little coffee shop in a little quiet town. Her husband, Mark, who is the chief of police.
And she would marry a policeman.
Yes. Yep. So I was thinking about that. I was like, she either did that out of necessity or she did it, it just kind of happened, because they both have similar values and like strengths and stuff like that.
Right.
But most importantly, her daughter, Tatum, who the film centers around secondarily, as we find out later in the movie, perhaps primarily. She's 17 years old in this film. So she was the age that Sydney was when everything happened to her in the original Scream film. So to put this in perspective a little bit, I want to, take the viewers through this. So Tatum in this film is 17 years old. So Scream 7, 17 years old. So that means that she had to have been born in 2008. As we saw in the movie, her birthday, she was born on August 2nd. She was born 8 years after Scream 3, which was released in 2000.
Yeah.
And before the events of Scream 4, which took place in 2010, 2011, she was 13 years old. So I would say, it'll be around Scream 5, which was 2022.
22.
Yeah, 2022. She was 13 years old. So obviously that would make her 17. So, which is kind of funny because in Scream 4, we had no indication of that Sydney had a kid, that she was married or anything. She was on her world famous book tour, and they had no, we had no indication or any like hints that she was even married or had a kid. So it's kind of funny how they kind of snuck that in there because you would assume that if she did have a kid, it would happen after the events of Scream 4 because it wasn't discussed or anything like that. But regardless, if you do the math, you can see that Tatum was born in 2008, August 2nd. So we see for the first time in action Sydney as a mom. Danny, how did you feel about seeing Sydney, final girl, as a mom?
Let's just say, first and foremost, I loved her. I love who she became in general. She has the coffee shop that I felt like Sydney would have. She has she has the husband I feel like Sydney would have. I feel like she would have definitely had an FBI agent or some police officer for one, out of protection and out of values and morals. But and like that relationship with Tatum is exactly how I picture Sydney would be, like not knowing really how to do it. You know what I mean? No one really knows it obviously until they get to it, but like not having her mother around, not having that bond, losing her best friend Tatum at such a young age. I just knew it was going to be hard for her to really relate to her daughter and open up. So it was very consistent to what I felt like the character and how Nev would take the character. Um, I was very entertained by it too. The little comments they was have back and forth. Um, you know, I don't even know how many times Sydney dropped the F-bomb in this film, but it was great in every moment. But I really enjoyed their dynamics and seeing it grow throughout the film and seeing the strength that Sydney has being portrayed in Tatum. Yeah, it was great. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. So, obviously we see Sydney and Tatum's kind of, stressed relationship, being that Sydney doesn't really know how to share personal details about what happened to her all those years. We see like her comment, my life is documented in the movies, just watch them.
Right.
Obviously Tatum, responds like that's not the same, as having,
Of course.
talk with you about, which is, understandable. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is the Sydney as a mom is exactly what I mean. It can go one or the other. It can go one or two ways, right? What we expect here, which I think is more in tune with like Sydney's experiences, like loss of her mom, loss of all the people she's loved throughout her life, and everything like that, and wanting to protect those closest to her now, as opposed to, for example, Halloween. The re-imaging of Halloween when Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, she did the complete opposite. She took the extreme. She taught her daughter survivor skills. She let her, have a life, and like,
right.
And that helped her daughter. Her daughter obviously thought she was crazy and Michael Myers was never coming back, but it ultimately helped her when Michael Myers finally did come back.
Exactly.
She had that strength to fight and everything, which we'll talk about whether or not what Sydney did was a detriment to Tatum or not. But yeah, I agree. And I like how there's those two contrasts between the two iconic movies there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so ultimately, Sydney in her coffee shop receives a phone call from Ghostface, and the riveting scream experience ensues. So, obviously, there were some criticisms about this movie, right? There were people that had strong feelings about it, even before it came out. But
even before.
But after it came out, there were criticisms as well. So let's jump into those a little bit, Danny.
Yeah, and first and foremost, I do want to say, like, it's just incredible. 30 years, ago, this nightmare started for Sidney Prescott, and it's like as you go back and you watch it, the first one, say for instance, even like now older in life, you're like, that is really effed up. Like, you mean to tell me, her boyfriend killed and the R word to her mom, and then tried to kill her on the same night she lost her virginity. Like, like how traumatic life would be. So again, this whole story I was so happy to see Sydney come back. So happy to see Nev come back because, that, like we talked about, is the face of the franchise. And for me, that was a criticism enough that I needed. I was like, okay, she's back. I'm back. Let's see where they take this story. But some other people obviously didn't feel the same way. And so, Rotten Tomatoes gave this film 34%. Pretty rough. All right, pretty rough. IMDb 6 out of 10. Excuse me. And then overall, it's a 78%. Which I do want to say that in the past, Scream does not have the reputation of being a 9 out of 10 film or above 80%, and I get that because it is a cult classic, and a lot of those they don't get the praise from the masses. It's literally those people, the niche of the people that love that franchise. But what I will say is that a lot of people really enjoyed it. But someone said that this film was the worst in its franchise, which I don't agree. But they said that they pretty much want to round up some of the things they said about the kills. We have mentioned something about being the predictability of some of the film. But I don't believe predictability decides the value of the film. I can predict something's going to happen, but how they do it and how they entertain me and the way that they do it, that makes or break the film. So they're saying that this is one of the worst reviews. And they say it follows Nev Campbell, right? And that whole controversy in itself. But the thing that he got hit the hardest, and I know we'll talk about this, is the AI attribution to it. They're saying, what was Tatum's deal really in the film? They felt like her heroic moment was weak and lackluster. This is some of the things I'm throwing out, and we're going to discuss a little bit because I'm like, the audacity. They were saying they can't recall a less funny Scream entry, and the comments like, we don't have an understudy, and all that was like forced comedy. That got knocked as well. They also said, why even have Gail Weathers in the film? You know what I mean? Like, I can go on and on with some of this because it is crazy. It's saying it's the worst in the franchise, which I just don't agree with. The failed plot and reveal. It criticized the lamest ghost killer reveal in the franchise. And they said the storyline was third rate, and it had poor characterization. Dispensable mouthpieces and father from the returning characters feel forced. So, i.e., the twins. So, what do you think about some of these claims, truth claims, and so, like, some of them I can understand, but some are like it's just totally off wall. What do you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, first, I want to start off by saying Scream 7 just broke the record of being the highest grossing Scream in opening weekend franchise history. So
exactly right.
Take that. Take that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm like, come on now, let's go.
So, I will agree on, and so we can talk about this a little bit now, I guess. The one thing I will agree on is the kills for me. So some of the kills were not Ghostface-esque, I guess you would say it. You know what I'm saying? I felt that we had this discussion about Scream 6. I felt Ghostface walking through a bodega with a shotgun wasn't Ghostface. I don't think it's something you could do. It didn't work. It didn't land for me. In this movie, kind of the most cringiest, like, annoying kill for me was when he killed Lucas. So played by Asta German, which is also on Gen V, right? Yeah, he's on Gen V. So when Ghostface killed him, I was just like, it's cringe. I didn't like it because
it's Jason.
Yeah, it gave me exactly. It gave me Jason Voorhees. It gave
Yeah,
me Michael Myers, and
yeah,
I was just like, What is this?" You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I agree with that. That annoyed me. The other kills, I felt they were very Ghostface like. They were entertaining. They were fun. The Madison at the beginning getting torched after she says that would be the worst way to die. She would hate it.
yeah, yeah,
Get burned alive. That and even Hannah, who I thought had a lot of we're going to talk about this too, a lot of parallels to Tatum. The way she died was just like that was like crazy to me. I liked it because it was insane. Like, you know what I mean? She had no escape, and you're just like
right,
you're just
none.
waiting for it to end. And like Ghostface
Hmm.
kept playing with her. He's like,
Yeah,
a little bit there. You know, so
yeah,
yeah, so I enjoyed the kills. I thought they were good. But that one I just couldn't handle. I was just like, what? It's not realistic. I don't like it, and I wish they didn't do it because
yeah,
it kind of ruined that entire scene for me.
yeah. No,
I would have been I would have been happier with him just slicing his throat on the floor, while he was cutting out. You know what I mean? Bleeding out.
right. Yeah, it just didn't make sense for me there. And like this super strength is coming from where, to pick up a person by their head is you gotta have a lot of strength from that. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, what is this?
Right.
But I do kind of get what they're saying about some of the comments. They were kind of cringe,
Yeah.
like the whole like, our understudy type thing, and then like um there was one thing that Nev said that was really corny. I can't. Something Sydney said that was really corny. I can't remember, but like ever so often. But I'm like, that's nothing for me, I guess, to like really hark on. I mean,
Yeah. And I mean, I laughed at that part too, but I was just like, that's actually crazy that he would even say that. You know what
right,
I mean? That's why
right,
it made it kind of funny, made you chuckle. It's like, is he really thinking about that right now? But it goes to show just like, that theater mindset that it's just like the show
the
must go
show
on.
must go on. Exactly.
So,
Jinx.
I mean, if you look at it that way, from that angle, it's appropriate. But yeah, I do understand what they're saying about that. But I mean, let's talk about the Gale of it all, right? Because I mean, just even if Gail just graced us with with her presence in one clip, like that would have been
That
so.
would have been enough. That would
That,
have been enough.
dude, at the theater, I've seen it twice already, but at the theater, every time Gail presents herself,
Yeah.
everybody
Every
cheer,
time.
everybody's like, woo!
Every time.
Every time. So I'm just like, it doesn't matter why she's there. She's there. She's a legacy character. And then even so, it was very appropriate for her to be there because she finally got
She
that interview that she's been waiting for 30 years.
exactly. Finally got that interview. Finally got the interview. Man, 30 years in the making. Yeah. I mean, and then plus, it's obviously she heard about the murders in Woodsboro at Stu Macher's house. So she's like, I'm not going to Woodsboro like everyone else. I'm going to see Sydney. So like,
She knew that's where
it just made sense.
now.
Right. And it shows like her, like you said, her legendary character in the film.
I will agree with them to an extent though about the twins, Mindy and Chad, because
Yes.
I felt that was forced.
Yes.
I think it made sense from the side of things that like they want to get into that type of business for Mindy more so than Chad. And I feel like Chad's just along for the ride. But I felt that literally if you would have cut their roles out, it wouldn't have made a difference.
It really wouldn't have.
Their biggest part, I mean, honestly, Chad didn't even have any moments, honestly. Mindy's biggest part was, at the Tatum's friend Celeste's parents' restaurant, the bar.
Yeah.
When she went through her whole spiel. That was kind of funny and everything. Chad was like, you said you wouldn't do the rule thing again. She was like, okay. Then she's like, but.
And then she does what? Right.
So, I mean, that was kind of cool and everything. And then, obviously they get away unscathed again. I'm just like, all right.
It's getting, that part, I was just kind of like, I specifically wrote down twins because I wanted to discuss that in a sense. So I'm just like, it felt forced. It felt like, they didn't really give anything to the movie. You know, they didn't take anything away, but like I just feel like it just wasn't needed. And then they just get messed up again. I literally said it in the theater. I'm like, oh, they got effed up again. I was like, and that's pretty much all
Did
they came
nothing,
for.
did nothing to
That's all
help.
they came for to get. And then she got her maybe her, you know, her little spotlight, 5 minutes of fame at the end, and she kept messing up, which was funny as hell. But yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. So I
Mhm.
would say, you know, I definitely agree with them on that end. And you know, I get probably Williamson is probably setting it up for the next one, which we'll talk about. But you know, by having them in this, but still, it's just like I ain't really
Right.
care for it.
Exactly. My main criticism, obviously the ones we're talking about and stuff, what I pointed out, but one of my main criticisms, and it's not really a criticism, it's just something that I'm just like interesting, is that Williamson stepped away like from like the Scream formula, the normal Scream formula. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? As you know, obviously we have the opening sequence kill, which is, you know, obviously a necessity for a Scream franchise.
Yeah,
Scream. And then, you know, you get into the movie and everything, but it, you know, and it doesn't, there's no act 3 party. They kind of tricked you a little bit, you know, when Hannah was like, oh, party at my house tonight and everything like that. You
yeah,
know, you think that's where it's all going to go down and everything, but no.
no, no party.
There's no party. And it's basically just like a cat and mouse game around the entire town, you know, certain areas and stuff like that, which is cool too. So, I mean, I would say it's a criticism for me is just that, you know, the fact that that's what he did for all these years. He's like, there's a Scream formula and I'm going to stick to it. You know what I mean? And then this one, he completely like obliterated it. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 exactly. The same thing even with the reveal of Ghostface and having 3, you know, and like all this stuff, right? And just uh you should well, pretty much revealing Ghostface in Act 1, you know, almost. It was just kind of like a whole different twist to it. So
Mhm.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's not really criticism. It was just like, oh, this is interesting. I felt like I was watching Scream. Yes, a lot of nostalgic, a lot of reminders of that franchise, but also I feel like I was watching like a different film
Yeah,
within the franchise.
exactly. Yep. It was more of like a pure slasher. You know what I mean?
Right,
Scream
right.
has always had that formula, you know, of like opening kill, you know, funny banter, everything, you know, things happening in between. But then you have Act 3, huge party,
Yeah,
reveal,
yeah.
death, everything. This was like continuous, just like boom, 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 boom.
Hmm.
Which was cool, very entertaining. But like I said, just different.
Different, right? Exactly. Well, you know, it was that brings us to our next kind of topic because I definitely wanted to discuss AI, which was a big criticism as well, right? So, you know, obviously AI is a big thing. We're still dealing with it. Went on strike for 100+ days last year, so it was like, you know, in the industry in general, outside of the film. But when you talk about it within film, the big thing was Stu, right? And everything was still the trailers, all this stuff. And I remember you and I talking. I said, "Don't you dare bring back Stu.
He is
Stu
dead.
is dead. Ain't nobody outliving that."
Right.
Okay.
We were like, if Jennifer can die in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Stu is dead.
I'm like, what is going on? So, you know, they kind of play with it, you know, throughout the film. It's like, okay, is Stu alive? Is he not? You know, everything looks so real. They got scars, all this stuff. Even go for it with the whole John Doe situation. Um, Now I do understand their grievance because one of the biggest things was the scene where pretty much everyone is guilt tripping Sydney, right? You know, Dewey even shows up and says, "I died for you." You know, how do you feel about all this stuff, right? And there's just all this AI being of these people in the past franchise, you know, fans, we were geeking. I know I was. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, this dude, all
Yeah.
this. Even a brother, like it was just so crazy. So how do you feel about the AI usage in this film? And do you like the direction that it took it?
Mm-hmm. So honestly, I felt that I felt like it was appropriate, and the reason I say that is because the way it was used was to tear Sydney down mentally. I felt that initial seeing Stu, just like you saw it in her face, it shocked the hell out of her. And she was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And then, obviously playing around with it and stuff. She's like, can he be alive? And no, he can't be, but can it happen? So it was used to tear her down, definitely. And to basically intimidate her. And I feel when you have someone of that, someone like that, of that nature, especially from her past, the only other person that can probably do that to her would be Billy. So, and then the fact that showing that he's after Tatum and everything like that, I felt that was a good usage of AI. Bringing everyone else, like at the end, the whole like guilt trip type thing and stuff like that. I enjoyed it because obviously, it's nostalgia and stuff. Did I think it landed? No.
Yeah.
I do not think it landed. Even Sydney glossed over it when Dewey said what he said. She was just like, "Whoever the F you are, I don't get."
Right, exactly.
Changed the subject. She was like, "I don't care about this anymore. This isn't phasing me." So I thought it was really cool to see that, and I'm glad they kind of did it for like us like nerds. But I mean, it didn't land, especially through Sydney. She didn't even have a moment of like, oh, Dewey, or anything like that. And obviously, she wouldn't give a crap about Roman.
Roman, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
even Miss Loomis came out too. It was the ones. It was interesting the ones that Williamson chose to like put up there, and those certain characters. I think if they have like brought back Rose McGowan or something like that, and like Tatum, and like used Tatum to like get to her like that would have been kind of crazy.
Yeah, that would have hit definitely. I thought that even Emma, her cousin, because that was such a close tie that betrayed her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I think the people they picked were very interesting, and then they kind of just threw Dewey in there because everyone else was like obviously there to like mentally F her up and antagonize her. And then Dewey's like, oh, pulls at the heartstrings, but
exactly. Yeah, I didn't think, it was a sad attempt for the killer, to kind of get in Sydney's mind.
Right.
But honestly, I didn't worry about listen, we're in it's 2026 now. We're gonna see a lot of this stuff in a lot of horror movies and a lot of twists because let's be honest, we're not getting rid of it. So the whole use of bringing kind of Stu back and using AI to replicate his voice, his look, all that stuff, it can be done nowadays. So I do believe serial killers are going to probably play with that stuff. You know what I mean? They're going to pretend to be certain people and all that, like it happens. So yeah, I didn't really
I hope not, because I feel like it's gonna get overplayed and overdone, and it's
I hope it's done in like exactly. I hope it's done in like very unique, creative ways. Like this, I think honestly this bringing Stu and all that stuff back was great, but like we don't need to see it anymore. Like that was good. So let's leave it in Scream 7.
Yes.
And let's move on,
Right. Because at this point it's like you start to expect it and it's just like it's not cool anymore. What I mean? Even like I mean, obviously we knew they were going to be playing around with AI because there are, many discussions about it, several leaks and stuff like that, but you still didn't know like maybe they will bring Stu back,
right.
Kind of like hit or miss thing. But I mean, if you consistently do it, it's just like, what's the point?
Did you ever think in the moment while you're watching that they would bring Stu back? Did you ever think for just a split second, is he alive?
No. The only reason I stuck to that is because when I was like years ago when after 3, because they were going to bring him back for the 3rd one, and then Columbine happened.
Yeah.
After that, Williamson said, no, Stu Macher is dead. And he said, so I'm like, if he brings Stu back, then he's going against what he said, and that's going to come up, and it's going to make him look terrible. Like,
right,
so
exactly.
Like, hopefully Williamson doesn't do that. And it just would have been like anticlimactic. It's just like,
it would have been.
Not interested in that,
Yeah. No, it would have been horrible. It would have been horrible. I would have been agreeing with these critics if that happened
Yeah,
with everything. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's
I mean, it would have been borderline on the same level as Ray ended up being the fisherman. Like, I hate it.
yes,
I hate it.
right. That's what I was thinking too. Thank you for bringing that up because I was actually, you can't help but watch this movie and think about I Know What You Did That Summer. They came out around the same time. It's like they're
Mhm.
both cult classics.
Mhm.
But it was just that about that movie that just really rubbed me wrong. And so I said, "Don't you dare do
Right.
this to Scream." Okay, don't
Don't
you
piss
dare.
me off like this. Do not.
There was a lot of slicing and dicing up in this film. All
Oh.
right, you mentioned it. You mentioned before, that some of the kills and stuff, whatnot. So let's talk about them a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm down with that. So I'll just talk. So, like I said, I enjoyed a lot of the kills. I already talked about the one that was annoying to me and just didn't fit Ghostface at all. So I'm irritated by that. But my favorite kill was probably, and it sucks. It sucks because this is a terrible way to go. But Hannah, like
Uh,
I thoroughly enjoyed her kill.
I thoroughly enjoy seeing someone sliced and hanging.
Just because it was like it was nothing she could do. Like literally,
No,
all she could do is
nothing.
just basically wait to die. She was hanging by
The harness, the
the
belt, yeah.
harness. She was hooked to the harness. She couldn't get out of that herself because
No,
she was like this. And then when she tried to get out of it, she tangled her other arm up. So literally, she's floating through the air
that's
like this,
crazy.
only having her legs in her, I think it was like her left arm or something to fight Ghostface. And she's tiny,
Yeah.
McKenna
And her
Grace is
leg, the leg got caught up too. Remember, like the
yeah,
like.
McKenna Grace is a tiny girl, so there's nothing she could do. And basically, I mean, she tried kicking him and stuff like that. So at that point, Ghostface is playing with her, and I'm just like, oh, this is like, but it was such a Ghostface thing to do, just like
It was.
playing around with everything. And like I told you before, it gave me like it gave me like Tatum feels. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm. Oh
just
yeah.
kind of like what's gonna happen. Oh God, the garage door going up, and you're just like waiting for it. You're just like her swinging in the air and stuff. That just took me there. So yeah, it was a brutal kill, but that was probably my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely Ghostface was a lot more brutal in this this
This
film.
film, yeah.
Yeah. And it was really good kills. Yeah, actually my favorite was probably the bar one, but I know I hated it that Ghostface did it, but like I love for the viewers, I love me. Jason's my homie. So like and I was like, that's what Jason would
That's
do.
what Jason did. Right.
So I was like, I loved the kill because it was a nice kill, but it just was done by the wrong person. I was like, it
Yes.
just felt weird.
The wrong villain. And then
Yeah,
even after, like I literally like cringed the entire time, like the
the
beard,
beard.
blood. I'm just like like it was cool,
Right.
but I'm like, it's not Ghostface, and it
That's
irritated.
not Ghostface. Yeah, exactly. But no, I did enjoy that one as well. I think that one was my favorite, honestly, because it was just drawn out so long too. I was like, just end it already, but no, it
Yeah.
just kept
He's
going.
like,
And
cut you there.
she right, and she was so helpless, and
It was
like
terrible.
it was really that was a really bad one. And then like the way um the way Sydney came in and saw the body just hanging there, and like it was just a reminder, welcome back. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then like it was so crazy, and that was
Uh,
like kind of like seeing Tatum, her friend.
right. Yeah, when she fell from the window and then she looked up and saw Tatum. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then like the silhouette, like that was the last scene they showed. Remember they showed the silhouette of Hannah's body, and I was just like,
yeah,
that's good. Like that was like
which was crazy. So that
yeah,
actually brings us up to our next topic, which are the parallels, because there were so many,
so many.
right? There were so many in this film, the parallels that we just mentioned the one Tatum, Nev looking up and seeing their body, which was crazy. What other parallels did you notice and want to discuss in there?
Yeah, so the girls walking down the street, reminiscent
Yeah,
of Halloween. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like,
that was like priceless.
For sure.
And even this is kind of like the Mark in the garage, like with the whole like garage going up and down, that kind of like
Yeah.
Tatum as well.
Yeah.
The passageway, Sydney's like secret escape
The
passageway.
secret, the wall.
Scream 3
Yeah.
and the mansion, you know,
Yeah.
obviously they were shooting behind it, but Ghostface was stabbing behind it this time. It gave me a lot of H2O vibes, you know, one of our favorite entries in the Halloween franchise. You know, Halloween 20 years later, Jamie Lee, Laurie Strode, you know, she had her son who is also 17, and then everything started to transpire. So it's like the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Obviously the bedroom scene with Tatum and Ben.
Oh my God, yeah. And then sneaking through the window, good old Billy fashion.
Yeah,
you know, but that was such a great opening to the film. You know what I mean? Until their like relationship. And she's like, Ben, get us how are you behind the bed? Like she's like, I done been through this.
Right.
This ain't nothing new to me.
She was like, I've seen this movie multiple times. Right. But what I love too is that he started quoting like Billy, like
yeah, right. I was like, what is going on here?
I was just waiting for Tatum to quote Sydney's parts, but she didn't. But whatever.
I was like, that's crazy.
Those are really the only parallels like I saw that I wanted to point out. How about you?
Yeah, so you pretty much hit the ones. Besides, obviously, I felt like what was it when Sydney was looking at the end, all the screens and all the people coming up and stuff. I felt like it was reminiscent of when she was watching the film play. Was in the third one. Yeah, and then it was like all around her. I kind of got that vibe a little bit. But I definitely want to talk about the parallels of like the reveal of Gail, because you know Gail always has her reveal, and that's one parallel, right? Exactly, and that's one parallel you will always have. So, what did you think about the epic Gail reveal coming out of that car? That shit was crazy.
I can't. Too funny, man. It was just like, it was priceless because first of all, like Joel McHale, he held it down as Mark. Like, he was a good casting. He did very well, and he's normally you know,
comedy
to the comedy side, the comedic side, and everything like that. I thought he did really well on this side. He still had his playful manner and stuff like that, which was cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, so like they're fighting, and then the first Ghostface number 1 gets thrown into the street, and then Gail takes him out with her car.
Man.
And then she just gets out like nothing happened. She's just like, so I love that, you know. Like I said, everybody in the theater got excited. They start clapping. They're like, woo.
Yeah, I automatically knew who it was. I was like, that's Gail. Yeah, ain't nobody else but Gail.
You saw it. You like, it had to be, you know, because
right.
At that time she's got to be showing up at some point. So yeah, I loved it. I thought they did that part extremely well. I thought that it landed. I felt that it did exactly what they wanted it to do.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. And yeah, I'm glad you brought up Mark, because yeah, that's another parallel I felt like to Dewey. You know what I mean? Like, is Mark our new Dewey, getting stabbed 35 times and still living?
But let's talk about it. Like Mark's injuries were worse than Dewey's ever were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dewey got stabbed.
It was all in the back, right? It
was in the back.
Yeah.
And even when he got stabbed in the second one, it was in the back. Mark got stabbed in the chest 4 times? It was 4.
I think it was 4 times, yeah.
Because he did like twice near the heart. I don't want to say how he missed the heart, but
I don't know either.
he is a baller for that one.
He's a trooper.
Yeah, he saved the day pretty much.
Yeah, right. Really and truly.
Yeah, so that's a parallel too, between him and Dewey. I'm like, he has to be the new Dewey.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, oh, that's giving me Dewey vibes right there. Even coming out of dumping out, right? Exactly. I'm like, it's given. So, but when you were talking about the the first Ghostface. Now, there are three, and if you study cinematography, you always will find like little hidden gems or little breadcrumbs, right? So if the camera holds on something a little too long, that's gonna come back for something, right?
No.
The big scene wide shot, right? When Ghostface is in the street, something's gonna happen because of that wide shot. So it takes him out. We find out that is one of the patients at the asylum, right?
Which was at Sydney's coffee shop earlier.
Exactly. As at Cindy's coffee shop earlier. And so we learn about the Ghostface motives, which, as we know, there's always a motive, right? So definitely let's get into what we think about the motives of, the true killer and then her two accomplices. What did you think about that? What were your thoughts when she was talking about her whole monologue? They got to have their monologue. That was something Williamson kept, they got to have their monologue.
It's all about exposition. That's
all about it. So what were your thoughts about it, though? I know.
Danny, what do I even say about it? You know how I am about a motive. I'll be completely honest about this entire thing. Like, the motive was completely lackluster to me. I'm just like, I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay, but with saying that, I wish that it was a better motive. I will tell you that. But when looking at what Williamson was trying to do and the overall themes of the movie, I understand why that was her motive, Jessica, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, Jessica.
So, basically, Sydney been through all of this trauma, all these years. She's a survivor, right? She writes the book Out of Darkness, which, as we knew, she was doing like a world tour, right? So like, it was a popular book. People loved it. People looked to her for guidance to survive and thrive and get out of difficult situations. What we find is that she was the main Ghostface killer was one of those people, right? Having been in, a particular troublesome marriage, volatile marriage, and everything like that. And then Sydney just disappears, right? So from being in the world eye for so long, helping people get through their traumatic experiences and then completely disappearing, you do have some people out there that may hold a grudge or be angry about that type of thing, right?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Especially if you have this codependency issue and you look to certain people for guidance and like almost salvation. Obviously, you're looking in the wrong place, right? It shouldn't start there. But, so and then when Sydney disappears, she basically dissolves, right? And she just basically comes into this person where it's like she just hits rock bottom. She checks herself into a psychiatric ward or whatever.
Psychiatry,
yeah. And she basically loses it mentally until she all of a sudden snaps and is like, well, maybe I just need to get rid of all my baggage, and that involves Sydney. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I get it, but I did like it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Same. I totally get it. We have that. We see it all the time with celebrities and stuff, and fanatics that go crazy when they just don't. You know what I mean? I get that, but having us wait this long, you know what I mean? Bringing back Nev Campbell, bringing back Sidney Prescott, 30 years. I think we deserve just a little bit better of a motive than that. I don't know what that looked like or what that was, but it felt flat for me when she was going through her monologue, and I was just like, that's it? Like, you went through all this and like I said, she had to be off for rocker anyway in the first place to even allow her son to die. It's like he's just like his father or whatever she said. But I'm just like, that's it. You
Right.
know, that's
And
all.
then, yeah, and then more so, I mean, and then that if think about this. So if that's it for her, the other Ghostface 2, who was played by Ethan Emery, and then Ghostface 3, I don't know his real name, but Carl, like
Oh,
their motives were non-existent. It was just because
right.
Jessica basically talked them into doing it, which I
Exactly.
guess similar is a parallel to Billy and Stu.
And Stu, right.
Stu just said he was bored and he was along for the ride. Billy was the one.
Exactly.
So it made sense, right? But to have this intricate plan of going against Sydney and everything, and them just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, why not? We liked Out of Darkness, and the fact she just left us all behind, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is very weird and very strange. I liked this because her motive had like two parts, right? I liked her second part of her motive better because she basically was like, I'm gonna create new trauma,
Yeah.
just generational. So, your daughter Tatum is going to watch me kill you, and then I'm going to repeat the cycle. So I thought that made more sense than what she was trying to do, because I'm like,
Yeah.
if you truly want to hurt Sydney and want to get back at her, that's the worst thing you can do. Put
Exactly.
Tatum what she went through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was more sick and more sadistic.
Mhm.
Yeah. So at the end at the end of the day, like I understood everything where it was coming from and all that. I just felt like it was missing a little meat,
A little bit.
We got some potatoes and veggies. Where the meat at? Where the beef?
Yeah, I was looking for like a juicy filet mignon or something like that.
You know what I'm saying?
We got like a flank steak.
Oh, tough too. It was like leather. No, no, yeah, but like I did. Yeah, the motives. At the end of the day, that makes Scream as well your motive. So, but I did like the little banter back and forth between Jessica and what was the guy name?
Who?
Ghostface 2, yeah.
Marco. Well, I think it was Marco.
Okay,
right?
Marco. Yeah. And first off, Murray. Yeah, first off, I want to say that I knew something was up with him anyway, because that actor specifically only plays like characters that are off. So
did you read that he originally auditioned for 1996 Scream and he didn't get it?
Oh my God, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
so Stu's part, right? Was it Stu?
This was like a full circle for him.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I love that, and also like just little things like that too, and like that Matthew Lillard wore the exact same outfit he wore in '96 on the red carpet for the premiere this year. Like it's just like little stuff. I was just like, oh my God.
Right. Exactly.
So, but
I thought, I mean, honestly, motive aside and everything, I thought Anna Kemp killed it. Like I thought she played.
Oh my God.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this. We guessed it was her. Like,
yeah,
probably her third appearance in the movie, like second or third in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought she did extremely well, especially after the reveal. She got the crazy, definitely right.
And I love the fight. What do you think of the fight? The fight was great. The fight was great.
Two chicks just going at it.
Great.
Equally crazy.
Powerful, equally crazy. Like just doing. You have to survive. And I love the we saw a little bit through the trailer. Which side note, I do want to talk for a second. Trailers nowadays. I don't know how you feel about it, but like I feel like, and this is just with trailers in general, I feel like they're showing us too much nowadays. Like I don't know, the old school trailers, the cuts used to like give you a little like tease and make you want more. Now it's just showing us so much, and I feel like I would have enjoyed the first big kill much more if they didn't show so much of it in the trailer. Of her falling on the knife and stuff like that. But as far as like the fights and all that, and then with her helping Tatum survive this whole experience she's having, right? In the coffee shop, which I thought was dope too.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And let's get into Tatum actually stepping into that, right? Because Sydney didn't prepare her for this. So do you think it was detrimental to her? Do you think that Tatum finding that on her own made her more powerful?
Yeah, honest. So, and that goes back to another criticism that you read
Yeah.
about Tatum kind of falling flat and being, I guess they said, close to irrelevant or something like that. Her heroic moment irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, what do I think it was best that Sydney did it this way? No. And this is the main reason why. Because Sydney has been through this so many times. I mean, this isn't going to be the last time, right? We can presume. So in her head, she should be thinking, this is going to happen again one day. So there's going to be a lunatic that watches the stab movies and like, oh, I want to do this. Or there's going to be somebody that's like a distant relative of like one of the people she killed, and then they're going to have revenge. So she needed to give Tatum the tools to prepare her. And now what that looks like, I can't say, because obviously we were just talking about the extreme of it is what, Laurie Strode did in Halloween, making her daughter not even want anything to do with her. So that's the extreme side of it. But I felt that Sydney just relying on the movies to explain what happened to her and not giving her any type of tools to do anything. You saw how scared she was how scared Tatum was to use that gun. She's like, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I felt that Sydney could have did better with that, honestly. Now, Tatum, I felt she held her own. I thought she did pretty good. And I do not agree with that criticism at all, because I felt from what's her name? Isabel May, who plays Tatum. I felt that how she played Tatum's role was like spectacular. Like they even made comments about it in the movie, her being timid and kind of like more reserved, soft spoken. The theater director chewed her a new one based on that, and everything like that. He's like, you're the daughter of Sidney Prescott. I thought you had grit. You know what I mean? Making these statements, which he needs to get punched in the face. I'm surprised he didn't get killed. But
exactly.
But like stuff like that, right? I felt her portrayal of Tatum and where Tatum just being in the dark the entire time, and then all of a sudden all this happening to her. I felt that she portrayed that well through film, her being frightened, scared, stumbling on everything, and then obviously starting to come into her own, not trusting anybody, and then basically fighting. You know what I mean? Even when she was fighting, she was still scared. It goes back to Sydney in Scream 1. When Scream started, she started fighting back, but she wasn't strong like she was in like the third one or the fourth one. Like, she still like timid, but she fought back. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought she did extremely well for the role for who Tatum was. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it goes back to the last conversation that Sydney and Tatum had, and why, which we can talk about this too, because you know how we love us some Tatum. Rose McGowan, how Sydney was explaining why she named her Tatum and what her wish was, be strong, powerful, like not scared of anything, outspoken, and everything like that. And that's probably who she's going to become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You can't expect that to be her right away when she didn't know anything about this world besides what was shown on the movies, because she was shielded. So
exactly.
I felt like that critique needs to go somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. And even still, the movies still, she even said in the film, Mom, did that really happen to you? Like, so part of her still didn't believe that this was her mom. And I don't even know how that even feels like, having your mom be like a celebrity, but not really for a great reason. You know what I mean? So, but I would, hats off to Isabel May. She's only 19, and she's killing it. So I can just see her career is going to be just incredible. And hats off to the whole entire cast. Everybody did amazing. It was just incredible performances all throughout. I wanted to see a little bit more of Gail. For those of you who said that, what's she doing in here? I want to see more.
I thought she was well used for the amount of time she was in there. Now, Obviously, you know, like I said, getting away. Williamson kind of got away from like the traditional Scream formula. So usually the Scream formula is about the friend group, right? So it wasn't as much about the friend group, which I kind of
No.
like to have seen a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's hard, you know, due to timing and screen time and stuff like that, to have it be about the family, which was the main purpose, right? But also the friend group. So I understood, you know, the time constraints of that. But I would have liked to see a little bit more with the friend group. You know, I felt Celeste, I thought she was like a cool character that we didn't really get to dive into enough. She was kind of like that sweet friend that was kind of flirtatious, you know, with old boy. And then,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would have been cool. Feel like for the most part, like if they were used well, I just would have liked to see a little bit more from certain characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And you talk about, friendships and, that Scream is often about, family, the family, but also the friend group is a big thing always, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about some other themes that happened in the film. There were a lot of themes. So what are some that you picked up and you want to dive into?
I guess the big one would be trauma, right? Like
Oh yeah. Oh
generation
yeah.
trauma and everything. We've seen throughout the multiple entries what trauma has done to Sydney, how it has changed her, how it's taken her out of commission, brought her back into commission. You know what I mean? And now you're seeing what it does to basically your family and
Yeah.
your offspring and stuff like that, and the people around you, right? Because
Right.
Jessica, her drama was translated in a way that basically killed everybody or wanted to kill
Right.
Sid, and
She moved. She
yeah,
moved to places and
right.
enlisted into psychiatric wards.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was like a perfect example, like you said, of like a fanatic
Yeah.
turned friend turned crazy. Well, she was always kind of crazy, so
Yeah.
she had to be. But yeah, so it's very interesting to having that theme in there because it basically touches everybody. I mean, I think that's a big one.
Yeah. No, I think that definitely trauma was huge, and I loved all the cute little nods too. Like Tatum was in theater, like Sydney. You know what I mean? She was like, "Oh, you did theater? Yeah, not since college." Anyway, moving on. Like,
Right. She was like, like it was so, like it was funny, but it was crazy. Like it's just like,
right.
and then like the jacket, like
The jacket, man.
It's
The
so funny when
jacket.
she walked in that jacket. I was like, that's the jacket from part two.
I
And
was
then
like, that's the part two
yeah,
jacket. I said,
and then I love Mark's part though too. He was like, that's on you.
that's on you, right? And I was like, I like him. He holds you
Yeah,
accountable. Holds you
yeah.
accountable.
He's like sticking up for the situation. He's like, maybe you should take it off, honey. But then he's like, hey, that was on you.
Yeah, you did that.
She
Right.
was upset. You gotta go talk to her.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that too. The big one for me was, and it ties in with the trauma, but like love and loss, that was huge and intertwined throughout everything here between, from the twins to Courtney, I'm sorry, from Gail talking about Dewey, and telling herself she's okay 500 times a day, Sydney thinking about Tatum, I'm sure every day because her daughter is named after her, the loss and the love that they have for these people that over 30 years have come and went, you know what I mean? So I feel like that was just something that was really a strong theme, as well as resilience. I think resilience is a huge thing too, in every Scream, right? Because you have to fight, you have to keep going, you have to survive. Like even when, and I love this moment that they had Tatum and Sydney. She was like, they killed Ben and all that. Like, Tatum, you just gotta worry about surviving, okay? Like, don't worry about nobody else. Right. You just need to survive. Like that's it. You don't need to worry about nobody else at this moment. We can grieve later, And so I feel like those are the ones that stuck out to me.
And going back to what you just said though, and it shows just like how like it's a terrible word to say, right? But it's an appropriate word to use. It shows how desensitized Sydney has been all of this. And it's terrible, but at the same time, it's understandable. And basically, she needs Tatum to have that same mentality because, hey, it could happen again. Next time it may be somebody in her friend group. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. But what I loved the part where, so when she was talking about Tatum, right? And then she was like, she got emotional because basically Tatum was like, you named me after a victim, someone that died. And she was like, she's my friend. She was like, and then basically Sydney was like, Tatum was the last friend she could ever trust. And that shows just like their like connection, experience, and everything, and just who she was as a person. And that's why it was like, I know we were talking about this. I don't remember, it was a previous episode. We were just like, we felt they did Tatum a disservice because we didn't see any type of anything from her in the second one in Scream 2. How close Sydney and her were. Like, she didn't have any pictures in her college dorm. She didn't even talk about her. The only time they talked about her was when Randy and Dewey were talking about the victims in part 1, and he was like, Tatum. That's the only time they brought her up. So I'm glad that they have such like a nod to her in this one. And, I mean, a lot of it is about the original Tatum, which is so cool. But getting back to my point, I love how she was the last friends that she can trust. And then at the end, when she was talking to Gail, she was just like, I just want you to know I can trust you too. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like Gail's finally her friend and someone that she can actually trust, right?
Right.
It'd be crazy that backfired and Gail became a Ghostface.
Right, that's what I was saying. Right, that they was really rooting for her in part 5, and they're like, anybody could be. But yeah, no, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, she said that on live TV, and Gail right there. I'm like, you don't trust Gail yet? I'm like, I believe she proved herself by now.
Well, because you have to think in Sydney's mind, Gail has always been about the story first.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily put Sydney, out there, on the line to get that story.
Right. As we saw a little bit, she was digging. She's like, you gonna be nice? It's been 30 years now. What you mean I won't be nice? Which I totally got it. Like that's Gail.
I almost died for this.
Right. I'm like, that's Gail. Like, what did you expect? But going back to the Tatum and the connection they had, I agree with you. I think they did a disservice. We should have saw more of that in 2, and 3. Even like, just the relationship with Dewey and losing his sister too. I felt like that was kind of brushed over very much. Like, it was like, did you guys have a relationship at all? Like, you know what I mean? So, but I love how they really brought it forth, and I think they did a lot of things. Like I said, it was very nostalgic, and they did a lot of things in Scream 7 that I felt like was reminiscent of the previous installments, like the OG 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I felt, and I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, me too. I felt Kevin Williamson did a phenomenal job at doing what he does best. And obviously, there are some criticisms that I have about it and everything like that, but I love the nostalgia, and I love that he didn't try to reinvent too much, because I mean, Scream is one of those movies. And I mean, it's funny because Mindy even like gives a speech about this. I believe it's like probably in 5. I don't think it was in 6. It was in 5, when she's just like, true staff fans will not deal with you reinventing the wheel. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. True Scream fans do not want a reinvention of anything. Same formula, that same nostalgia. And like I said, the formula kind of changed in this one, but it fit the storyline.
It was tolerable, yeah.
Like, we don't want to see that. Scream is one of those like, classic franchises that like it's not like Halloween where it's okay if he goes and kills people in a different area. It doesn't have to be Haddonfield. You know what I mean? Or Jason, he's been to Manhattan. Like, he doesn't have to be on Camp Crystal Lake. Like, we don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? Scream is particular. It's different.
Right. It is. It's very specific, and that's what we want to see. That's what works. So But yeah, guys, if you have not seen Scream 7 yet, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe you had to work or you had so you didn't have some free time, but go check Scream 7 out. Take it from us, your favorite scare experts. It is a great treat. You may want to see it more than once. If you're a true Scream fan, or even if you're just stepping into it, definitely go see it. You can see Sydney back in action, Nev Campbell back in action, Kevin Williamson, the original one of the OGs on the screenplay, first time directing it ever. So it's very fun, good treat. And so we're gonna wrap things up, but before we go, we're gonna give you our final thoughts on the film. Pauly, go ahead and tell everybody what your final thought is about Scream 7.
You will start with me. All right. So, I mean, I thought Scream 7 was great, like completely entertaining. I loved what Kevin Williamson did with it. I loved it. Like it was great. You know what I mean? Obviously it was highly anticipated, and I was not disappointed overall, right? Like I said, Williamson kind of stepped away from the normal Scream formula, which I did hold as a little. I did have a little. I feel some type of way about that, but I felt like it worked as it pertains to what he was trying to do as a making about complete, Sydney's family and everything. Like I said, all the kills were not Ghostface-esque, which I also found kind of annoying. But I did like a lot of the kills. So the motives, that's the last thing, right? So didn't quite land for me. Like I said, the second part of the motive, creating that whole intergenerational trauma and everything like that, starting the new cycle with Tatum. I like that more than, just, you walked away from the spotlight, your life is trauma, that type thing.
Yeah.
So I love the movie. I really did. But if I add into those criticisms, I would rate the movie. Oof. I'm between two right now. It's like I'm trying to think what would push you one way to the other. Okay. I'm gonna go this route, and I'm gonna explain why. So I was between an A- and a B+. And the reason I'm gonna go with a B+ is because I hated Lucas's kill. I hated it. So that sticks out to me the most because I felt like it did not fit this franchise. And then the motives didn't land either. So those two big things kind of took away the A for me. So I gave it a B+.
Okay. Yeah. My final thoughts on Scream 7. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing film. Very, like I said, throughout this entire scare, so nostalgic. Touched a special place in my heart. I enjoyed seeing all of the characters, and I just thought it was just a really great way to bring Scream back on track. I felt like this was a back on track film. Nothing against 5 and 6; they weren't my favorite, but I felt like we kind of just stepped away a little bit. And now we're back at it. And I'm excited to see Scream 8. I'm a little weary. I don't want anything to be watered down. I don't want anything to be like, off-putting where it's like, okay, I'm tired of it. I want to bring the new creativity, more new, the nuance of Ghostface that we know and love. I want to see more of that. Already mentioned about the motives and the kills. I will have to say one of my favorite parts of the film was just watching Sydney and Tatum interact. I think that was one of my favorite parts, outside of being a horror film that I know and love. Just seeing the mother that Sydney has become, I think that was something that was kind of cool. Ending grade. I am going to go. I'm going to go with an A-. I'm going to go with an A-. I know exactly what you're talking about, but the only reason I'm going to kick it on the other side of the B is because of the magnificent job that all the actors put into it, and Nev just coming back. I think that just kind of just made it made it like, okay, I gotta give it an A minus. I can't give it a B yet. You know, it just can't get the B plus. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it with an A minus. I really enjoyed the film. That's our final thoughts, y'all.
Yes, everybody. So if you haven't checked out Scream 7 yet, please do. Already the highest grossing on opening weekend in the franchise. So, I mean, it did not disappoint. Like you said, we have all opinions on it and everything as well, you know. So it was a great movie, honestly, like entertaining. Loved it. You know, huge nostalgia. And that opening sequence, man, I mean, you can't beat the first one. You can't. But it does.
It's great.
For me, it's the first one, then the second one. So I feel like this one is in line with a close second, the second one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the second one. I mean, we all, you know, Jada getting up there. Yeah.
Like, nobody knows what's going on. They're like, what?
Right. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, no, but it was great. I mean, setting the house on fire, even just like the blade and seeing the fire in this blade or reflecting off his, the cinematography was amazing on that. I loved it.
It was really good. I love, I mean, you can understand why they did it, but I don't see how it connected, I guess I would say.
Oh, you mean the fire burning it down?
Yeah, why did they have to burn? Yeah, like it didn't really connect to.
No, it didn't.
But I understand, like, if, you know, because at the end you learn she wants to close that chapter and, you know, of everything. So that would include
the baggage, yeah, I guess.
Woodsboro being Stu Macher's house. That's where it all started, right? But yeah, I thought there could have been a little bit more connection to that.
I thought it was gonna be more based on the trailer where it's like, you know, I'm gonna burn it down. They have Stu's voice saying and stuff like that, which I get it. Obviously, they do different things in the trailer to get you excited. But yeah, it was just like, okay, we could have done without the burning of the museum. That would have been still a cool thing to have. But I don't know. But yeah, so that wraps it up. Let's go. Let's go, y'all. We've been looking forward to this moment for a long time. And I'm so happy that we've seen it. And we're so very blessed, my brother and I, to be born in such a great decade where such just iconic classic films were created and they're still here today. So there's more to come.
There is more to come. All right, Danny, where can they find you?
All right, you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce.
You guys can find me at Alpha Boy than I1. Guys, go out and see Scream 7 right now.
Scream 7, go. Run and get it. Run and get it. We'll see you next time. Stay creepy.